Welcome back. You're watching Center Stage. Mildred Madison, League of Women Voters, and Vince Keenan from Publius. But two people that have paired to initiate this council by district. But Vince, to my question earlier before we went on a break, council by district, is it the answer? And you said it's not the answer.
I say it's not alone. It's not the answer. But what is the answer is for the people of the city of Detroit to begin the process of changing the status quo. That's really what this represents. We're talking about something that if we just put this on, it's a theory. You know, you do council by districts and then you try and say that that's going to fix things. No. We need to reinvest in the new system as it comes out. We need to reinvest in those districts. So there's no way that something you change on paper in the charter, whether it's districts or at large, is going to fix what happens in the city. We need to reinvest as a community, but this will give us an opportunity to begin those changes and to begin with a blank slate, new opportunity for everyone.
Mildred Madison, what do you think?
Well, when you have council by districts and you have a person who lives there, they're forced to focus in on what happens in that area for the improvement of that area. They fight harder to get the funding for that area as far as anything that they need. They also will have a chance to have a office in that district where persons can come in with staff and be able to talk to that council person and know the council person better respond to them. If they don't respond, then next time they run, they're going to be out. When you have 9 people and at large, they have to get anything done. They have to talk to 5 council persons because the council person will say, I have to have 5 votes. This way, they only have to have 1 representative.
The incumbents, current council incumbents who are, of course, running for election in a few days as well, do they support council by district? You guys talk to them?
Well, they tried to, several of them tried to get it pulled off the ballot.
Yes.
Who?
Well, we had, let me put it this way, of the current council that was there, we had...
we name names on the center stage.
Well, no, what I'm saying is that Alberta Tinsley Talabi and Ken Cockrell were both helpful when we went up to council. Yeah. Everybody else was whether or not they were in their own research, they had decided that what the law department was saying was accurate. Turns out it wasn't accurate. Turns out council had no business trying to keep this people's petition off the ballot, and we were able to prove that in the Supreme Court or in the appellate court.
You're right. If they had no business, and I did remember that the hammer that came down from the appellate court instructing them to get it back. But if they had no business with this, why would they interfere with it?
Because they couldn't beat it at the polls.
Well, the the Attorney General had said that the only thing they had to do was change the summary where it was a matter of a question. And Ms. Winfrey went before them and she said to them, look, I have to put this on.
We're talking about Janice Winfrey, the city clerk.
City clerk. Ms. Winfrey went before them and said, all I need is just the change of the language. And they refused to do that. They sent it back to the G to delay the time so it would be past the time that to get it on the ballot. They didn't want it.
The thing is that in a situation like this, we didn't have to spend one taxpayer dollar from any law department associated with the city on a petition or on a referendum that may or may not pass. If it was so fatally flawed, they could have waited until after it passed and then attacked it, because there's a good chance it might not have passed, and then they wouldn't have had to waste any money. They needed to do it in the court of public opinion. They needed to do it as publicly as possible and try and intimidate the voters and the citizens of the city of Detroit into going away, like they didn't have the right to do this. Well, we do, and we send a message, and we were able to get that message hammered home by the appellate court. Yep.
So you say they were pandering to the public?
No, I think they were. I think what they were doing is they were trying to argue this. They were trying to make it seem illegal at a time where it wasn't in a court of law. They didn't have to prove anything. They just had to say over and over again, this is illegal, this is illegal, this is illegal, when in reality it was not illegal. What they were doing was illegal.
What happens if we don't have council by district? What is the other side? What is the other side of that? What is the downside of it?
We're going to have probably the same old that we're having right now, with persons with persons who have been with the status quo still being in control of what's happening as far as Detroit is concerned and the government of Detroit. So I think the downside is that I don't think Detroit will recover as it should. I think this is not the all to end all, but I think this is the first step, which puts the power of the people in the neighborhoods for the neighborhoods to come back. I think this is the chance for the neighborhoods to start coming back, and rather than just concentrating on 2 or 3 areas.
If you look at where we've gone so far, we've already gotten past the corruption of trying to pull this off the ballot. That was wrong. We beat them back on that point. This is a trend. This is the people taking back the city of Detroit.
Democracy at work. Let's see if it happens in a few days. Thank you very much for joining us on Center Stage this week. We'll see you next week when we have the new council.